This here is my original Mazda pickup. It's the one that started my obsession. It has gone through a couple different iterations and it's currently been sitting for about 7 years. I drove it to 314,000 on the odometer, but I was learning on this vehicle, so it is very rough and I'm not entirely sure if it's actually going to come back alive again, but I'll try. But swapped it out for a bubble hood from a parts truck. It is covered in nasty. Same thing with the fenders, they got dented badly while I was driving earlier. The doors were also swapped out. These are actually Dodge rims that I sanded and painted black with high temp paint, and they actually fit all the Mazda trim. So the beauty ring and the center caps, and the center caps themselves are actually out of the plastic variant from the aluminum rims. I stole the badge out of those and have adhesive basically holding this on, and I had this on a different truck, and you know, they are road tested, they're perfectly fine, nothing's wrong with them. But obviously this truck hasn't been driving much. But basically, before I knew anything about vehicles, and I thought my dad did, he helped me troubleshoot some wiring issues by putting a 30 amp fuse into a 5 amp slot. So that promptly melted all my wires. And then since getting another guy before I knew anything about vehicles to do my wires, and he didn't know anything about wires, took 3 attempts and about $800 worth of money, probably more than once, for him to get it down right. And it ran fine, but now it doesn't. And I cannot for the life of me remember over the past 7 years whether or not I have started messing with the harness to repair it or not. So I went ahead and pulled it recently, repinned everything, got all the botched splices and things that aren't quite right fixed, and it's still not working. So finally bought a book that is actually for the 1990 Mazda gears, and I'll be able to identify what exactly is going on. Also, it needs a new battery for sitting so long. I keep stealing the battery out of my other truck. But these are Dodge Neon seats that just about bolt in. You have to bend these little brackets just a little bit more, and then I need, for safety's sake, to get the back corner, not this corner but the other side. It doesn't even line up at all, so you have to, like, right now I'm doing janky stuff because again I was a young idiot, but basically you just got to make that foot over there tie in on its bolt. But again, for 314,000 miles on the odometer, it served me pretty well. But I made it into like a old man truck camper, and this is off of a Ford Ranger, and this is actually off of a Nissan Pathfinder, because the aerodynamics of it kept building up dirt and stacking on the window, and you couldn't see out the back. But with a spoiler on it, it actually shoves air down and keep the dust off for a good bit. And right now it's just my storage, and I made an RV bed out of it. I got a lot of photos on this on my Instagram, but I had plans to go to the 15-inch Chevy K-Series Blazer rally rims, but I never got around doing that. In the back there is actually somebody ended up making beadlock variants, so I got those from them, and again, never really got anything out of it. Got my collection of paperweights that people keep saying are good ECUs, are perfectly fine, and never mind the rust and the not working circuitry, and thanks for taking my money and wasting my time. But that's what happens when online purchases. You just take a gamble. But for anybody who wants to know my Instagram, it is Zype00. You can find me there if you found me on YouTube already, apparently. And in the odd turn of events, Dad actually had to come back to me and apologize for wrecking the truck instead of, you know, the routine that the son breaks the dad's truck. He got hit by a car when he pulled out with a trailer, thinking that they would obey the red light, and they didn't. So they crashed right into the axle, and it's been perfectly fine. It's just a little bit of blemish on the fender. So, not the end of the world, and I'll probably never get around to fixing it. But had a cab visor on this. I got these holes plugged with some adhesive Bondo tape kind of thing, but it's actually on my other truck, which you'll see in the next segment. But pretty decent little truck for 314,000 miles. I owned it for about a decade now. Hopefully I can get it back online.